everyone, hopefully you can all see me. I'm going to be doing what I promised you, and I'm doing my Wiccan religion video. A couple of you guys wanted to see it, so I'm going to do it now. I figured I would do a tag, so that's why I was touching. I'm going to be reading it off my phone. I'm doing the witchy tag. It goes around on YouTube a lot, and people are like, oh, everyone should do it, and I figured it'd be the easiest way for me to explain to you like the type of witch I am and the type of religion I practice. So let's begin. Question 1 is, what kind of witch am I? Now, I didn't understand this question at first, so I've been thinking about it all day. I guess the description I am most comfortable with, I guess at this moment, would be eclectic, pagan, but I am a Wiccan. I practice the Wiccan faith. I generally stick to Celtic gods though, so I'm not sure if that answers any questions. 2, how did you discover your path? Actually, this is a really funny story. When I was little, and everyone's gonna think I'm so crazy, but when I was little, I watched a movie, a Scooby-Doo movie actually, and it was like, and the witch's, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, and the main singer of the Hex Girls was a Wiccan, and that really inspired me, and I learned more about it. And once I could actually use the internet, I looked into it and I discovered that, you know, this is really for me. I've had a lot of bad experiences with Christianity. I've been ridiculed and outcast from several churches because, well, really one church, and have had several family members be incredibly intolerant to me, so I really shifted away from that and looked for more of a loving, outreaching faith that accepts most people versus the strict rule-abiding ways of the Christian church. I don't have anything against Christians. I'm not one of those witches who hates Christians. I just don't practice Christianity. Is how long have you been practicing? I'm not sure what people consider like practicing. I've been doing small spells and crafts and healing for about 3 years. However, I have really been serious about it for about a year and a half. A year and a half to 2 years. It depends on when you really consider it, whether I started my Book of Shadows or actually learning and educating myself and reading up on it. So between a year and a half and 2 years I've been officially practicing, but I've been interested in Wicca and witchcraft my entire life. Number 4, what path or tradition do you follow? Again, I'm eclectic. I pull from various paths, but my main, various pantheons. However, my main is the Celtic pantheon. Are you solitary or do you have a coven? I am a solitary, but it is simply because I don't have enough people who live around me who are Wiccan to form a coven. So, you know, plus that in group, while I appreciate the idea of group energy in rituals, I don't necessarily believe that group religions are right for me. Do you practice divination? If so, what techniques? I do some pendulum readings, which I used to do a lot more back when I was first starting out because, I mean, it's pretty simple. Other than that, I am learning tarot. I've been working on it for a while, on and off, so I've done pretty well within it, and I've gotten really great results so far, and I'm just working to continue that streak. Number 7, would you teach and practice witchcraft to your children? See, here's the problem I have with that question is that I don't want children, so no. If I ever had to teach children about religions at all, I would be very open-minded to what they wanted to practice. Like, if they wanted to be a Christian, like, whatever. If they wanted to pursue Judaism or Buddhism, or if they wanted to pursue witchcraft or Wicca, then I'd be okay with it. I mean, you need to go with what you're spiritually pulled to. It's just one of those things. 8, do you have a patron or matron deity? I have a patron deity. He is pretty well known in the world, especially in the British Isles. I call him Hearn. He is Hearn the Hunter, and he has made himself very, very, very known to me in throughout my entire life. So he is my patron deity. Number 9, favorite pantheon would be the Celtic pantheon. However, I do enjoy, Norse mythology as well as some Egyptian mythology. I think the Book of the Dead is beautiful, and I really enjoy a lot of Norse mythology and folklore. I think it's fascinating. Favorite goddess? This is a tough one for me, mainly just because there are a lot of goddesses that I attune to and I work with. Main one would be the butterfly maiden of Native American culture. I love butterflies and moths, and they're another sign for me that is, like, in nature, I guess. But sticking with the Celtic faith, my favorite god would be Macha, which is M-A-C-H-A, that's how I pronounce it, Macha. She is the goddess of war, death, and I believe fertility. She's part of the triple goddess that is the Morrigan, but she has made herself known to me predominantly. My favorite god would be Cernunnos, who is the horn god. He is, I mean, you can see, I don't know, I'll show you my altar at the end of the video and you'll see my atonements to him, and yeah, it's pretty obvious. My sun sign, I am a Virgo. Number 13 is, what is your moon sign? My moon sign is Taurus, apparently. I don't really know too much about the zodiac. I don't really work a lot with the zodiac, but surprise. Do I have a familiar? Not at the moment, no, I don't. Thoughts on the afterlife? Okay, my thoughts on the afterlife are that once someone passes away, they pass through, I don't know, like a tunnel, or like there's like a land, but I personally call it Summerland. A lot of Wiccans, witches do. And that is a place where you go and rejuvenate before you are essentially reincarnated into this life, or the next life, essentially. Have you had any paranormal experiences? No, I haven't. Not really. It just hasn't happened to me. I don't really seek out paranormal things. I don't particularly want to partake in that. I do have weird dreams sometimes. I don't know if that counts, but I don't know. My mom has the same thing where where she gets weird dreams and then they come true and it's like, hey, surprise. So I don't know if that counts for anything. Are you out of the broom closet? If so, how do your friends, family feel about your path? Okay, this is a touchy subject because I am not out of the broom closet to my parents. I'm still living under their house and they are very strict Christians. Don't know how they get away with having an altar in my room. Like, I don't know how they don't know. But my parents don't know. However, most of my friends are aware that I practice this faith and they know, and they keep it kind of hush-hush on the down low. Mainly because I've asked them to, and, you know, I'm open with it with my friends because my friends are a lot more understanding than my parents. However, it's just, again, it's one of those things where I feel more comfortable telling them than I do talking to my parents. What is something that inspires you? I'm gonna go with nature. I guess, I don't know, rainy days, fog, mist. I love really spongy moss. I think it's beautiful, and when it covers rocks, I think I get really inspired because sometimes you can see like pictures and different formations, and it's awesome. Another thing that inspires me would be like when nature kind of overtakes old buildings. That is so inspiring to me because the earth is taking itself back essentially, and I just think that's so cool. Number 19, do you have an altar? Yes, I do, and you can see the rest of it, the full extent, at the end of this video. What's a spell that you have done? A spell that I've done. I mean, recently? I've done a lot. I've done several. I mean, I guess my most serious one has been a witch bottle, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to talk. If you want to know what a witch bottle is, message me privately and I will let you know. I'm not going to get into that on the public because I prefer not to talk about it as it's very personal. Do you have a totem animal? If so, what is it? Totem animal. I mean, not... I've always had a connection with deer. Always had it. Oh, every time I go out into the woods, literally every single time I've seen a deer. Another would be cats. I have a strong affinity for cats, and I have a spirit guide who is a cat. One of my old cats, I know she's still here, so that's kind of a thing. But a totem animal, I guess, my main totem animal, not necessarily like spirit guide, would be a deer, like specifically a buck. Number 22 is favorite pagan holiday that you celebrate. Samhain would probably be my favorite. That's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, it's New Year's and that's so much fun. But other than that would be Lunasa or Lamas, depending on what you call it, which is the first harvest festival. Do I meditate? Yes, but I've been meditating my entire life as it calms me down and helps me center myself. It was not something I started doing when I became a Wiccan. Have you gone into a psychic, tarot reader, Reiki master, healer, etc.? I've never specifically gone to any of those places, but I have been approached by people like in various places who have come up to me and like been like, hey, you have bad luck in your future. I had someone at a festival up in Maryland, not a festival, excuse me, I was in an antique store. A woman came up to me and asked to see my hand, and I was like, what? And she's like, ah, yes, and like said a bunch of things to me that it was like, yes, you are my sister. And my mom was like, what? And I was like, hey. So that was fun. I was like 13, and she's like, oh yes, welcome. And then I started actually, after that, I found a witch book in the shop and was like, oh, that's weird. And my path kind of started that way. Surprise. That's what kicked off my knowledge. So, a little anecdote. What are some witch books that have influenced you? Okay. Anything by Scott Cunningham is wonderful. So, probably Wicca, I believe, would be my number one. By Scott. I think it's just called Wicca. I'm not sure. I vaguely remember that cover. I'm not allowed to have any of those books in the house because my parents can find them very easily, and I prefer not to do that. Other ones would be Gothcraft by Raven Digitalis, and as much as her writing is kind of shoddy, Try to Silver Broomstick by Silver Raven Wolf would be another couple who have inspired me and helped me learn. Favorite witch websites? I have a Witchbox account, but other than that, I really don't use too much like social media stuff for my witchiness. I don't like to be like a techno pagan or whatever. I think that was a term used in like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but whatever. I prefer to use books and my own knowledge versus the internet. Favorite witch movie? Kiki's Delivery Service count? I don't really watch too many movies about witches. Favorite mythological animal? Probably a griffin, but other than that, I'm trying to think. Mythological animals? Do elves count? I like elves. Those are cool. Fairies. I'm kind of into that whole fae and the fair folk thing. I think it's interesting. I'm going to be starting to do some research on that. Favorite season would be fall. It's when my birthday is, and I just love fall because you can feel the year seriously changing, and it's beautiful. Favorite herb would be rosemary. My favorite gem, I have a shard of obsidian, and I think it's beautiful, and like it's like slightly iridescent, and it's really awesome. So favorite gem, I guess. Rune of your choice. I don't work with runes. I don't work with runes, but I guess there's one, and it looks like an N, like that. I don't know. It's like the rune for courage. There's also one that's like an arrow, and it's the sign of the warrior, and I think that's really cool. But other than that, I really don't work with runes all that much, so I'm not too knowledgeable on that. The tarot card of your choice. Well, I have different cards than what most people have. So they have, like, most tarot decks have a Hierophant. I have a Pope and a Popess. I also have the Emperor and the Empress. So the Empress is probably my favorite one. I think it's just awesome. I also have a lot of different, like the Queen cards are definitely really powerful for me when I am doing tarot readings. So, yeah. The symbol or sigil of your choice. I work a lot with triquetras, which is like the symbol for eternal life. I work a lot. I have my key. This is like a slightly less obvious way for me to say, hey, look, I'm a pagan. This is my, this is the key to my faith. I keep it on me at most to all the time. So I work a lot with keys. I guess if that's a shape or like a sigil, but it's blessed and it's been charged. It charges every night on my altar, so. Yeah, I don't really let people touch it, and I don't like to take it off because it's very sacred and special to me, much as like how someone would wear like a crucifix or have rosary beads. Yeah. The, your athame or one you want. I don't work with an athame. Or athame? Athame? I don't know. I've heard it said both ways. I don't use one at the moment. I used to have one, but I can't find it. Like, I don't know where it went. It might be that we had our house refurbished, so it might be that it's stuck in one of the boxes, and I really miss it, but it was like a short dagger thing, and it was relatively dull because it's very, very, very old. It's a historical object that came down from my family, and I was kind of like, hey, I'm just gonna take this and bless it and use it. So I feel like it has like it's been charged with power, like generational energy, so I like to use it in my craft to feel as though I'm connecting more with my ancestors, if that makes any sense to, oh god, I sound crazy, but you know, I just feel like it's a way to honor them and using my ancestors and where I've come from in my craft. Your wand or one you want. I am working on finding the proper tree from which to hew my wand. At the moment, it has been too wet for me to go out like super far, ridiculously far out. I also need to find more of a crystal that I wish to charge and use. So at the moment, this is my wand. I mean, I feel like the human body is the most powerful tool Wiccan can have and use, so. Your cauldron, again, god, I am not really prepared. I use generally this in place of my cauldron. It's something that I handcrafted. I can heat it if I wish. I don't normally. I use this mainly for blessing oils, but I also do have a mortar and pestle dish that I will use for a cauldron if I need something bigger. Your Book of Shadows. I can actually show that to you. I'm not going to open it because it's very sacred to me. Hold on. Okay, so this is my Book of Shadows. I am currently about halfway through, so I'm like right there. The way this piece of paper is, it's like a bookmarker or something I was working on, some drawings that I've done. I've been keeping it for about 1.5 years, and this is just my basic one that I'm keeping. It has everything that I need to know from herb and planetary correspondences to what to do in a proper Ishbat ritual, or Shabbat ritual. Tarot decks or one you want. Oh, something else I can show you, which I have in here. Okay, let's see if I can do this without knocking anything over. I have a medieval Renaissance tarot deck, excuse me, not decked, but yeah, I decked him, no. But I do have my Scapini cards, and they are, Page of Cups, for example. They have medieval art on them, and really easy to read, and I keep them in my velvet box. So, if you ever see me toting this around, it has my tarot cards in it. Alright. Let's put this back. Finally, something witch related you want right now. Probably my main thing would be a wand, personally, because I need to get that done. Other than that, I would really just like a witch room that I could go into and have a sacred space and create a sacred space, because while this corner of my room is really great, I find it would be probably a lot easier for me to practice in private and longer rituals as well, versus either me being in here or having to hike out a mile into the woods, so my parents are like, what are you doing? Why is there incense flowing from around you? What? Why? So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it answered some of your questions. If you have any other questions, please private message me them and I will answer them at length. This was just a simple, hey, this is what I do with my time, this is my religion. So I hope it didn't bore you, and I'm sorry this is going to be so long. I know it's probably going to be like 30 minutes long, but yeah, I hope you had your questions answered. Bye guys.